This book predicts my death every night. Shh. It's 2:58 a.m. I have to be quiet. Every single night, this book, it writes a new story. A story about me. And every one of them ends the same way, with my death. I have to read my own obituary before it happens. And tonight's chapter. Tonight, it says this is it. Section 1. The backstory. I never should have bought it. I see that now. But I collect strange things, little antiquarian oddities. It's what I do. Or, it's what I used to do before my life turned into this. I found it 3 weeks ago in a part of the city I'd never explored, in a shop that smelled like dust and thunderstorms. The kind of place where books are stacked so high, you'd swear they were holding up the ceiling. It was on a low shelf, almost hidden away. It was small, no bigger than my hand, and bound in this dark, cracked leather. No title, no markings at all. Just this bizarre clasp made of some metal I didn't recognize. It felt cold in my hand, unnaturally cold. I asked the old man at the counter about it, and he just shrugged, his eyes kind of sliding away from mine. He told me it had been on that shelf for as long as he'd owned the shop, and he'd sell it for $1 just to get the ugly thing out of his sight. When I got it home, I finally managed to jimmy the weird clasp open. I was expecting, I don't know, forgotten lore, a diary maybe. But it was empty. Just nothing. Page after page of blank, yellowed paper. Except for one. A single page of smooth, almost skin-like vellum right in the very middle. And on that page, in a thin, spidery handwriting, was a story. Section 2. The First Nights. The first night, I actually laughed. The story was called The Man on the Ledge. It was short, simple. A hiker gets lost in the fog, takes one wrong step, and plummets off a cliff. Classic, dreary, gothic stuff. Morbid, but whatever. I closed it, put it on my nightstand, and didn't think about it again. The next morning, the story was gone. The page was blank. I didn't get it. I figured the ink must have faded, or maybe I dreamed the whole thing. But that night, right as the clock hit 3, I watched the ink just bleed back onto the page. It formed new words, a new story. This one was titled, The Spark in the Dry Grass. It told a story about a groundskeeper who accidentally starts a wildfire and gets trapped in it. The next afternoon, I saw smoke rising a few blocks away. The news said a small shed had caught fire from an untended barbecue pit. A weird coincidence. That's all it was. The third night is when the curiosity soured into real fear. The title of the story was The Crossroads at Elm. That's my street. That's my street. It described a man, distracted for just a second, pulling his car out into the path of a speeding truck. The story was so detailed. It described the horn, the screech of the tires, the sound of shattering glass. I was woken up later that night by that exact sound. A screech of tires so loud it felt like it was right outside my window, followed by this sickening crunch. I flew to the window, my heart hammering in my chest. But there was no accident. The street was empty. The book wasn't just telling stories anymore. It was making predictions about me. From then on, it got worse. Each story became more personal, weaving in little details from my life, my actual memories. It wrote about a drowning, and the next day, I nearly cracked my skull slipping in the shower. It wrote about a faulty wire, and my desk lamp started flickering and sparking. It knows things I have never told a single soul. It feels like my own mind is being turned against me, my memories twisted into a new torment every single night. This book isn't just haunted, it's alive, it's prophetic, and it's personal. Section 3, The Ritual. And now we're at tonight. I've tried everything. I tried just not reading it. But the anxiety, the not knowing, it's somehow worse. The dread just builds and builds until I can't breathe, and my hand reaches for it, just to know what horror it has in store. I even tried to destroy the page. I lit a match to it one night. The corner started to blacken and curl, and the searing pain shot up my arm. A burn mark appeared on my own skin, like I was the one on fire. By morning, the page was perfect again. You can't get rid of it. You can't escape it. All you can do is read. All you can do is wait. The book is sitting right here on my desk. The leather looks darker somehow. The clasp is like a sneer. There's this cold just radiating off of it. The air in here is so heavy. Every night, it's the same ritual. I wait until I can't stand it anymore, and then I open it. My hands are shaking. God, I don't want to. I don't want to. But I have to. I'm opening it. To the center page, the ink is fresh. It looks like blood. Tonight's title. Oh God, my stomach just dropped. It's called The Author in the Room. I'm going to read a little of it, so you understand. Clears throat, voice trembling. The man, whose name was my name, sat alone in his quiet house. For weeks, he had been the sole audience to a cruel and unending play. A nightly performance written in a script of dread. He had become a connoisseur of his own demise, an expert in the many ways a life could be extinguished. But tonight was different. He could feel it in the stillness of the air, in the way the shadows in the corners of his room seemed to stretch and deepen, no longer content to simply be shadows. He had read about falling from great heights and felt a phantom vertigo. He had read about the cold embrace of water and felt a chill deep in his bones. Tonight's story, however, did not begin with an external threat. It began with a sound, a soft, rhythmic scratching. It seemed to come from everywhere at once, from inside the walls, from beneath the floorboards. He tried to dismiss it, to rationalize it as the house settling, as a mouse in the attic. But the sound was too deliberate. Scratch, pause, scratch. It was the sound of a pen on paper, the sound of something being written. He looked at the cursed book on his desk, its single accusing page staring up at him. But the words were already there. The story was finished. So who or what was still writing? He remembered a secret, a shame from his childhood he thought he had buried forever. A lie he told that had ruined a friend's reputation. The story on the page knew it. It described the event in perfect, excruciating detail, a memory dredged up and put on display. The book wasn't just predicting his future, it was judging his past. The scratching grew louder, closer. It was in the room with him now. A floorboard creaked behind him. He knew, with a certainty that froze the marrow in his bones, that if he turned around, he would see the author. Section 4. The haunting, the scratching. I can hear it. It started right after I read that part aloud. It's faint. You probably can't hear it over my voice, but I can. It's just like the book said. A slow, deliberate scratching. Am I losing my mind? Is that what this is? This is a known effect, right? The psychological terror, the paranoia. It makes you unravel. It's a classic trope. Your mind decaying along with your hope. But it feels so real. It's coming from that corner. Over there, the darkest part of the room, the shadows. They don't look right. They're moving. I swear to God, they are moving. I'm trying to be rational here. I've been looking things up online. Anything. Cursed books, haunted grimoires, legends, and folklore. There's the Book of Soiga, which supposedly kills whoever deciphers its last pages. There's the Grand Grimoire, which is basically a handbook for summoning demons. They're just stories, superstitions. But M.R. James wrote about this stuff, about curses passed on through a slip of paper, an object, a curse with a deadline. It's an old idea, this weight of an inescapable fate that just hunts you down. There, did you hear that? It's louder now. It's not in my head. It's not. The book said the author was in the room. What does that mean? Is the book itself the author? Some entity that's bound to it? Some stories say these curses have rules, a way out, a bargain. But this has nothing, no fine print, just my death, over and over and over. The air is so cold, I can see my breath. That's not my imagination. The temperature has dropped, 20 degrees in the last 10 minutes. I'm looking at the corner where the sound is coming from. There's a shape there, a tall, thin distortion in the air. It's not a trick of the light. It's darker than the darkness around it. It's taking shape. The story I read, there's a last line. I didn't read it out loud. I couldn't bring myself to. After the part about seeing the author, it just says, he would see the author and he would know that the final page had not been a prediction, but a contract, and payment was now due. The scratching has stopped. It's completely silent. The shape in the corner, it's taller now. It's starting to unfold. That's not a shadow. It has limbs. It's looking at me. I can't see a face, but I can feel it looking at me. This is it. This is the night. This is the story that doesn't end when I close the book. This is the one that comes true, the final chapter. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what this thing is. If you have any idea, if you have ever heard of anything like this, please just leave a comment. I don't know what's going to happen when I stop recording. Subscribe. Subscribe if you want to know if I'm even here tomorrow.